Tom here. More importantly, welcome back to SurelecTV. It's a Saturday, also known as Royal Wedding Day, or FA Cup Final Day, if that's more important to you, which I'm sure it is to a lot of people. So today's task, we're now on our way to an E.I.C.R, which for those of you that don't know is Electrical Installation Condition Report. In layman's term, this is basically a full test and inspection of the electrical system within a domestic property. So I haven't been to this property before. I don't know what size fuse board it is, how many circuits there are, but we're not too far away, so we'll find out. But I'm only hoping to be there about half a day. What I'm going to do is explain most of the tests to you, show you a few tests, show you a few inspections, what you should be looking out for. I'll try and keep it short and sweet. Probably won't go into too much detail, otherwise we'll end up with like an hour long video. And I know I wouldn't watch an hour long video, so I don't know why you guys would either, but I'll keep it short and sweet. Again, thanks for all the likes, the comments, the views on all my videos, I do appreciate it. Keep them coming. Any suggestions, any questions, just pop them in the comments. So yeah, keep it up and enjoy the video. So it's now 9:10. I've been here since 8:30. The agreed time to come and carry out the testing, but it appears the tenant isn't actually in, which is always good. So I've been on the phone to the owner of the property and they're hopefully coming to let me in. So yeah, good start to the day. So an hour and a half later and we have made it into the property. As I mentioned, I didn't know what kind of property it was. This is just a one bed kind of tiny little house, kind of a chalet thing. It's the people I'm working for, they invest in properties for refugees and stuff like that, so it's not in the best condition. It's not very nice at all, to be honest, but I'll show you a few of the defects I've found already. So we've got a broken socket front there, single socket. That'll be a C3 on the report, because that can deteriorate quite badly. There's only a couple of sockets in each room, single sockets. Dimmer switch, quick functional test. That works as it should. That pendant's fixed okay. Quite often you see pendants hanging off and not fixed sufficiently, so that would be a C3 as well if that was the case. Bathroom, we've got a pull cord switch, and that works okay. That is a bathroom light, so that's suitable for the external influences in here. Other electrics we've got in here, so we've got a boiler in here by the looks of it. Switch sheet spare, we'll give that a test obviously. Take you downstairs. So we've got the fuse board up there. It's an old E.I.C.R fuse board. No labelling, nothing, so that's obviously a C3 defect. We've got no next inspection label. The covers, that shouldn't be broken like that really. We've got a plug-in MCB, quite a few people do that. These are just the rewirable fuses, so all they've done is taken it out and put a plug-in 3871. So we've got a 6 amp there, which I assume does the lighting. We've got 230s, so one will be the socket circuit and one is cooker circuit. We've got the mains out here, so we've got a 60 amp incoming supply, and that literally goes straight up to the fuse board. PME earth. There's the cooker switch, and up here we've got some lights that aren't connected with cables coming out, so that'll probably be a C2 on the report, because that isn't very good at all. For a bit of safe isolation, so first things first is you want to have the correct voltage tester, which complies with GS38. You don't want to be using a multimeter or multifunction tester just purely for the basis there's a lot of things on there you could confuse the settings with. and not actually be reading the voltage correctly. So this is purely for testing voltage, no confusion possible. So first things first, you're going to ask the customer whether it's okay for us to turn the electric off. Obviously once they agree, what I normally do is turn the fuse board off at the main switch. So once it's off, take the cover off, and then what we have is the exposed fuse board. So first we're going to prove our test equipment on a known supply. A lot of people do this with a proving unit, but in my case I normally just test on, I know these incoming tails are live, so I'll test on them first. So neutral to earth, neutral to live, and then live to earth. And once we've done that, we'll test on the outgoing side just to prove that the outgoing is dead. Same test, so live to earth, neutral to earth, and then live to neutral. And once we're happy that's isolated and the secondary side of the switch is dead, we'll then prove our meter again to check it is working on the same tests again. So live to earth, neutral to earth, live to neutral. And then once we've done that, we'll lock the fuse board off, display a notice, and make the customer aware that the power is going to be off. In this case we're not actually going to isolate the power. I'm working in close proximity, so I'm happy that there's no potential of it being turned back on. I'm going to check, most importantly, is the earthing conductor continuity. So what I'm going to do is check the bonding on the gas and the water here. They've got both, so I'll check both. All I've done in this situation is run one 10mm earth to the gas from the fuse board, to the gas and straight onto the water main. So I'll show you the gas one first. So the gas one is here. Most important thing is when you do use it in that situation where the gas goes straight onto the water bond, is that there isn't a break in the cable and it is continuous. So we'll check that in a minute. And then over here we've got our water bonding under the sink. I don't know how well you can see that. What I'm going to do is run a wandering lead all the way up to the fuse board over there, connect it with our water bond earth or bonding earth, and then to test between the two ends over here just to make sure we have got a continuous earthing conductor there. I'm probably not going to show you that because I'm a bit pushed for time now, so yeah, I'll let you know when we're done. What I'm going to do is the external earth loop. How I'm going to do this is I'm going to disconnect the incoming bond, I mean the incoming earth, disconnect that so we've got no parallel paths, put my meter on the earth and on the live and neutral, and then we'll test away. Right, so I've got my main earth disconnected. I'm just going to pop you down here and hopefully you can see because there's not really anywhere to mount the camera today. That's good enough. So yeah, what I'm going to do is set my meter onto earth loop, high current test because we haven't got to worry about a RCD tripping. So like I mentioned, one clip on the earth, one probe on the neutral, one probe on the live, click test, and we've got a reading of 0.24 ohms and the PFC of 1.0 Ka. On a TNCS system or PME system, the incoming earth should be no more than 0.35 ohms. So we're well under that here. So yeah, we're good to carry on. Now the schedule of inspections, aka the tick sheet. So they're all ticked, crosses, NAs in the appropriate boxes. So I've done my full inspection of the property now before I carry out any testing, physical testing of the circuits. I've come across 12 observations. The first one is there's no next inspection label on the fuse board, so normally there should be a label up there saying when it needs to be tested next and when it's due. Second one is there's no DB legend, so no fuse board legend or circuit detail, so there wasn't anything on our front cover down there saying what circuit does what, although it is self-explanatory but not to everyone. We've got no RCD protection. I'd like to see RCD protection on that cooker circuit where it can be plugged in there, and from what I can tell I reckon a lot of these cables are less than 50mm deep in the wall, so I'd like to see some RCD protection here really, so I've labelled that as a C2. Like I pointed out earlier, there's a broken single socket in the upstairs bedroom. Number 5, socket outlet and cooker less than 300mm from the hob. I've already pointed that out. What have we got? I've already pointed out the exposed live connections up here, so you can literally touch the live connections up there, which isn't any good at all. So I've actually marked that as a C2. What else have we got? Number 7. There's a burnt socket outlet in the living room. It just looks like they've probably had too much load in one of the sockets, or there's been a bad connection on one of the points, and that has literally burnt out both the pins there. I don't know how well you can see. Next one is, I've just put all the accessories are showing signs of age, deterioration and a bit of neglect, so that's a C3. We've got a wooden back box, so it doesn't comply with the latest 17 regulations of being metallic, so it's not an immediate problem, but I've labelled that as a C3. There's no earth bond label on the water bond, so I've already shown you that. Broken fuse cover, C3. And we've got no identification of the switch wires within the switches, so the black cable has got no red or brown sleeve on it whatsoever, so they're all the observations I've made. Right, so the next test I'm going to perform is the end-to-end continuity tests on the ring circuit. So as you can see, I've pulled all the conductors out, ready to be tested. And what I'm going to do first is null my leads, so put them together, press our 0 button on our meter. And what that does is null the leads, so basically we're not reading we're not marking the resistance of these leads as part of our test, basically. So what I'm going to do is literally just put one of these probes on one conductor, one on the other line conductor, press test, and we get 0.30 ohms. So where we mark that, this is our first circuit, so we literally just mark that under the line conductor. And because we're using, or they've used twin and earth cable, we should expect to see the same reading on the neutral conductor as well. So 0.31, which is pretty good, to be honest, as expected. And again, because we're using twin and earth, the CPC within twin and earth on 2.5 is actually 1.5, so it's smaller cable, so we expect the resistance to be higher. In fact, on twin and earth it should be 1.67 times the normal 2.5 conductor. So earth, or CPC to CPC, and we get 0.51. So if we do 0.30 times 1.67 equals 0.501, so we know that is what it is, basically. Again, we mark that on our test sheet under the one that says CPC, so 0.51, and that is our end-to-end continuity test done on the ring circuit. I was just doing my R1, R2 tests on my socket circuits, and I've plugged it into one circuit and I realised I wasn't getting any reading whatsoever. So I've taken the front off and this is what I find. So as you can see, that socket is completely fallen apart internally. Looks like there may have been a bit of arcing inside there at some point as well. So yeah, that will be marked as a C1 on my report, I think. So yeah, not good at all, and as you can see, this installation really isn't up to standards at all, to be honest. It's been neglected badly, to be honest. So yeah, we'll carry on. Just to make a note, R1, R2 tests should be carried out on all accessories in a circuit, because obviously this confirms polarity as well. Right, I've just made another observation while carrying out some tests. So the additional circuit in the fuse board, which I suspected to be the boiler circuit, is the boiler circuit. But when taking apart the fuse spur, I've noticed that the actual fuse holder pulls straight out, and you can literally shove your finger right in there and touch those contacts in there. So that's been marked as a C2, because obviously that is potentially dangerous. Also, no grommets in the boxes there, so that'll be marked. So yeah, not a good installation whatsoever. So I'm just going to show you me carrying out an R1, R2 test on the lighting circuit. So what we need to do is we're going to take we're going to take the live conductor out of its terminal. Obviously this is a dead test, so obviously nothing is live in here apart from that, which we can't touch, theoretically. So what we're going to do is connect that live of the lighting conductor circuit, and we're going to put it in the earth block, the MET, main earth terminal. And that will give us our link between the live and earth for us to create and the R12 value at each accessory. So what we would do is go around each light fitting, measure the R1, R2 value by putting one probe on the earth, one probe on the live conductor, pressing our continuity button on the tester, and that will give us a figure. So for the purpose of the video, I'm just going to show you me testing the R12 value at the last point in this lighting circuit. I can tell it's the last point because there is only two twin earths going in there, one live feed and one switch wire down to the switch. And I've tested all the other ones and they've got 3 wires, so that proves this is the last one. It's not always the case, but it's pretty obvious in this situation. So as mentioned, one probe on the live conductor, one probe on the earth conductor. Like that. And we press test, and our R1, R2 value is 1.05 for this lighting circuit. So I'm now going to show you an insulation resistance test. So to do this we just need 2 probes. We set our meter onto insulation. We've got the option to do 50 volts, 100 volts, 250 volts and 500 volts. So on a domestic property you'd usually do 500 volts. If you're working somewhere where you're not able to isolate sensitive equipment, you probably drop it down to 250, or if you're not sure what's on the circuit you'd probably start at 250 as well, just so you don't fry any equipment. So on that note, what you want to do first is go around all sockets, unplug anything that's plugged in, because that will give you a false reading. Probably show up that you've got a dead short between live and neutral and possibly other readings as well. So what we're going to do, first of all we're going to go on our neutral conductors, on our live conductors. We're going to press test, and me being me, I haven't unplugged everything, so I shall be back. Right, let's try that again. There was a phone charger left in, so that gave me the false reading. So now if we hold it down, all clear between live and neutral. Live and earth, all clear, and then neutral and earth, all clear, or greater than 500 mega ohms. So we're happy that that circuit, the installation is perfectly fine. Right, so we've now performed all of our dead tests, all of our R1, R2s, end to ends, ring conductor, end to ends obviously. polarity, everything is done dead test wise now. So what we're going to do is we don't need to go in this fuse board anymore. We've got all the readings we want in there. So we're going to put the cover back on, which will allow us to put the switch back on. Obviously the fuse will be back in, and then we can test our ZS values at each circuit. You do this at the last point in the circuit, and that'll be it basically. And then I'll give you a little overview. One thing you must do before you put the cover back on is obviously check any connections you've altered or taken out. Just make sure everything is back in place properly. Make sure you haven't left any live conductors in the earth terminals, any earth conductors in the live terminals. Yeah, just make sure it's all good before you put the cover back on and switch your power back on. And before you do switch your power back on, just make the client aware as well that you're going to be switching it back on, just in case it makes them jump obviously, or they've got something plugged in and they're about to use and it suddenly starts up. So just be aware. So the fuse board's all back on, the cover's back on, and what I'm going to do now is all the ZS tests. First one I'm going to do is the socket circuits. I've actually put a temporary 20 amp breaker in for the boiler circuit, but I'm going to take that back out again, obviously because it's got a C2 defect on it, and I don't want to leave it like that, so that'll be coming back out. Right, let's go and do some sockets. So I'm going to go around to every socket, test this ZS, sorry. So here's the first one. What we're going to do is obviously put that again onto loop, high current, because we've got no RCD, so we're not too concerned about that tripping. Press test, 0.27 ohms, which is pretty good. And this one, 0.38, and the last one upstairs is just on the hallway. .37. So like I say, I'm going to do that for all the circuits, record the highest one, and then yeah, that is us done. Right, so just going to show you the completed report. A lot of this I'll fill in properly when I do it online later. Makes no sense to fill it in on here twice. All I do is print off a preview, makes it easier to fill it in on site. So there's a list of all the defects. I can't even read my writing sometimes, so good luck trying to read some of that. A few more general bits. Next inspection will be in 5 years. Obviously this is unsatisfactory condition, so that'll only apply once the remedial work has been done. Usual stuff, TNCS system, nature of the supply, so 230 volts, 50 hertz, ZE values, PFC, main fuse, main breaker. Here's all our tick sheet, a few NAs on there, a few of my observations obviously come through that, all general stuff really. And then once we get to that, there's our 4 circuits. So we've got a ring, cooker, there's that circuit that didn't have anything, a breaker in, so that is the old boiler supply, which I don't use, but obviously I've tested it anyway and put it back to how it was. Lights, like I say, everything has tested out alright. We've got good ring continuity, we've got good R1, R2 values, everything's clear on the insulation resistance, greater than 500. And again, all our ZS values are okay as well. So all in all, the electrical circuits have tested out fine, but there is quite a few bad defects, which obviously brings it down to an unsatisfactory condition. There's a few C2s, so they do need to be sorted ASAP. Right, so we're all done here. Testing and inspection is complete, or the E.I.C.R is complete. Obviously a few remedial items need to be done, quite a few that need to be done urgently really. I've isolated a few bad points just because I don't want to leave them as they are. One, for example, I've replaced that socket, so it's got a new socket on there, that's all good, but it'll still be noted on a report. All I've got to do now is go on the NIC E.I.C. online website, enter all the test results, fill out the report, submit the report, print a PDF or forward a PDF to the customer, over email, etc. Obviously advising them what needs to be done, and it needs to be done as soon as possible. We won't be putting a next inspection label on the consumer unit because obviously it's not satisfactory at the moment, and once it is satisfactory then we can. There'll probably be a new fuse board going in here anyway, I reckon. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed the video. Sorry it's been a bit vague, obviously with the delay getting started I didn't have quite as much time to show you as much testing as I wanted, but lucky enough it was quite an insightful test inspection. Lots of bad things to show you, unfortunately. So yeah, as usual, like the videos, keep watching, comment anything you like, abuse, anything, criticism, comment anything you want to see, let me know your thoughts on this place, and we'll go from there. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. If you have, really appreciate it. If you want to see pictures of installs we've done, installs I've done, anything we're up to, then it is all posted on my Facebook page, which is SurelecTV Limited. That'll pop up down the bottom there somewhere. And yeah, enjoy the royal wedding if you're watching it. I think I've missed it now, but hopefully the FA Cup final a bit later will be a bit more interesting. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you on the next video. See you later.